Salam, shalom, wise Salah speaking. Today I want to do this deep video. Explaining to black people what a Jew is. I forgot something. Like I said, I want to do this video explaining to black people in depth what a Jew is. Of course, many black people view themselves as Jews, black Jews. So all you have to do is listen. Meaning if you're a Hebrew Israelite or a black Jew of any sort, all you have to do is listen. Everyone claims to be on a path or seeking truth. Truth is that simple. You just have to listen. Now, of course, subscribe to the channel. Click the notification bell so you know when I go live. Click the title of the video so you can see the channel membership link. That way, if you're someone who misses the lives, or you want to view any of the older content, become a channel member. Pick which level is best for you. And visit the website wiseservant.org, not com.org. I have little courses up there. They're under pricing plans. And of course, you can visit the shop section. This is where my literature is. Now, let's get to business. Thank you, Joshua Hall, for the sound check. Salam, shalom, R. Jr. and everyone else. Now, like I said, I want to explain to blacks, whoever's listening, I want to explain what a Jew is in depth so that you guys fully grasp. Now, that nationality, Jew or Hebrew, is a nationality that you guys got from a story in a book. You can view the book as the word of God or anything you want. I'm not saying you can't. But you guys got the nationality from a book. Now, pardon me, aftershave. Now, in real life, meaning the book is speaking about a group of people from real life. In real life, these people may not be called Jew, but Jew is being used by the book to reference the people. I'm trying to be clear between making the difference between the book or the text, which is describing something in life, and life itself. So the author of the book is calling the people Jews or Hebrews to describe a real race of people from those times. They may not be called Jews, but that's how the author sees or knows them. Now, when you're dealing with the Jewish race of people, or the Jews, in real life, this is your Julie Caesar family tree. Many people don't know history. Now, A Jew is describing the Julie Caesar family tree or family line. You can look up Juli and then put Caesar at the end. Or you can put Juli, Caesar family tree. Some of you guys may have never heard of. Y'all have all heard of Caesar. And Caesar is not just one individual. Caesar was like a title of rank, like above a king, like a god, a king god. And so you have a whole line of these Caesars, and they're from the Julie Caesar line. I guess you can say, I don't want to say it starts with Julius Caesar, but Julius Caesar's like king on earth in those times. So, like I said, you can look up the Julie Caesar family tree. Meaning you can Google that, whatever you choose. Juli. And so when the Bible speaks of the Jews, it is speaking of that family tree. Now, if you're lost and you need a reference, you can Google King David of the Byzantine Empire. Or you may have to Google it, Tiberius of the Byzantine Empire, from around 600 to 641. 630, 641, this is his time. Meaning the year 630 to the year 641. But you can just put in 600s. Who was King David, aka Tiberius, from the 600s? I'm saying that so you can grasp. King David is King Tiberius. He was born David, but his royal name you can say is Tiberius. Like I said, you can look all of this up. You have to understand history. Your scholarship has to be thorough. Now, you have a thing called the David Plates. You can look that up as well. It depicts King David's life, but it's truly speaking of, like I said, King Tiberius, which is King David. I don't want to say it's truly speaking of, but it's speaking of Tiberius, or King David, when he was born. And so, like I said, King David, or Tiberius, was a co-emperor for the Byzantines. Now, you know the Byzantines, they come from the Julius Caesar family tree. Just a different time than Julius Caesar. But the Byzantine Empire has to do with the Julius Caesar line. You know, it's like the descendants taking over, like you conquering your father's land or something like that. Like that. And the Byzantine Empire became like the Turkish Empire. You get my point? They're basically spreading out all over the world. The Julius Caesar family tree. In whatever time you're speaking of. And so King David is a part of that family tree. And so the author of the book is speaking of the Julius Caesars, but he's referring to them as the Jews. Maybe that's what they called them in short, for Julius Caesar. Maybe the people of the time just called them the Jews. Now, of course, Julius Caesar, the Byzantine Empire, these have to do with like your, what do you call them? Your Ashkenazi Jews, your Russian Jews, basically, that wear the peyote sideburns, the curly sideburns. This is why if you look up images of Hebrews in the past, you may see them with curly sideburns. It has to do with that. Meaning, if you're black, you're not a Jew. It's not even a nationality, that's a family line. And this family line kind of conquered the world in their time. kind of setting things to where you see them now. This is why you have the book where Julius Caesar's God. In them times, of course, maybe even now. When I say God, that's just a word for king, of course. It was an old word for king, like emperor, Caesar, all these titles. Now, if you're wondering to yourself, I've seen images of Hebrews or Jews and they were black or dark skinned. When you're dealing with your Ashkenazi Jews, these are your Russians from the Julius Caesar line. And at some point in time, they conquered the area we know as Jerusalem when it was just a rainforest, like every city or place you know. In its beginnings, it was just a forest. And you had your indigenous people there, native to that forest. We're speaking uncivilized indigenous people. They have no nationality, none of that stuff. They're not civilized. Your Russians of that time, these being your Ashkenazi Jews, those from the Julius Caesar family tree, conquered that area. No different than Italy and Spain came to America when it was a forest and, did the same. The point I'm making is those Russians, they came to that area and colonized that forest into a city. I would call it Jerusalem. Indigenous people there were domesticated. These are your dark-skinned indigenous people that would have been in that area. They would have been domesticated or mixed breeded, whitewashed out. You follow? If you need an example, if you go back to the 1400s and you would have pulled up to the area known as Puerto Rico, all you would have seen was dark-skinned indigenous people in and around. Now if you go to Puerto Rico, they're white. Like the Spaniards that came. Like that, whitewashed them out. You still have Dominicans and dark-skinned Puerto Ricans, but do you get my point? For the most part, you can say, yeah, the people over there were whitewashed out. You go to Haiti, DR, maybe not whitewashed out as much. When I say whitewashed out, I mean like mixed breeded, domesticated. You have to remember, people were sold. And so, however you view pets or animals, when they're spliced or mixed breeded, and so you can get different variety. So when your colonizers pull up, the people just all the same color. They look the same, like one family. We're speaking of the indigenous people. Now you sell people. So you say, I need mix. They all look the same. So now let's say you got a white person, you mix breed them with them. Now you have a dark-skinned slave with blue eyes, and maybe you have a lighter-skinned slave. Like that. They splice or domesticate them out for sale. Of course, slavery ended at some point, meaning that aspect of it. The selling and mixed breeding, which is basically domesticating humans, like animals. Sin against man. But I'm just giving you that example so you can use it in antiquity. Like I said, your Ashkenazi Jews, this being people from the Julius Caesar family line, in antiquity they conquered the area known as Jerusalem, or the place we would associate with Jews, whoever you view Jews to be. And so that area was just a forest like every city you ever seen or heard of. And it was colonized, meaning people came to it and they developed it up. More than likely, they burned the forest down. So when you hear about all these forest fires, it's just colonization. New cities being built from the beginnings. So if you ever wonder, like, how did it work in America? Like that. They came here, they was burning down the forest, indigenous people running out of it. Next thing you know, these people are being brought to develop cities. So this is why we have migrants and all this stuff in. If you wondering, like, where's all these migrants coming and what is that? Well, you see forests are burning, and there's people and animals that live in forest. That's who they are. Of course, they're not straight from the forest. Your indigenous people straight out the forest, they're not civilized at all. They don't speak anything we can identify. And they cannot identify what we speak. But of course, they're brought to little settlements, you get it? And groomed into, and brought to like third world countries, second world countries, before, you push them into the UN, or that one world thing. I say one world because we just travel everywhere. Everywhere got money. I could change my money at your place and get yours, and one world system thing. But I'm just giving you an example. This is how a Jew, or this is what a Jew would have been in antiquity. Peace and wisdom, different angles. This is where you get Jew from. Your Russian, Ashkenazi Jews, which come from your Julius Caesar line. And so in antiquity, they colonized that forest that we know as the city of Jerusalem, or wherever you associate Jews to be from. They colonized them, like I said, whitewashed them out. Maybe not all of them, but you get my point. And so now you have a new race of people. You go back to 1492, there was no Puerto Rican. You follow? There was no Dominican, Haitian. The lands was colonized, or developed by colonizers. And they name it, and the people take the name of the place. The newly spliced or domesticated people. It's the same with North America. There was no California, this or that. I'm not saying the lands that we call California wasn't there, but I'm saying being developed and named that. That was just a part of the forest. Like that. And so in those times, those Russians, or the Ashkenazi Jews, they colonized that area. This is where you get the Hitler and the Jew beef from. They have to do with white races, but think like if Spain decide they got beef with Puerto Ricans now, because they like, nah. You feel me? Y'all what we made. Like, a Spaniard could tell a Puerto Rican now, we made y'all. We came to them lands, y'all was indigenous people like animals. And we mixed bred y'all out into us. Y'all speak Spanish because of us. You get my point? Meaning the one race makes the other. Indigenous people are like blank people, you can say. I'm saying blank because they have no civilization. They have no nationality. It's just a family or a group of people like animals in the forest. And you may have many different groups. And so like that. The colonizers come and they catch them like animals. They eat them. Keep them as pets and domesticate them and sell them, you get it? And he's speaking in that time. So the Hitler thing and the Jew thing got to do with that. Meaning Hitler's viewing the Jews like, y'all are not pure Russians. When Russians are your Ashkenazi Jews, which are not your Ashkenazi Jews. So to make it clear, your Russians went to that area that we would call Jerusalem, or Middle East African area. And they colonized over there. You had your indigenous people there. They mixed bread with them, creating a colony, so to say. Like a descendancy, so to say. These people are like, they're not Russians because they're half indigenous, but we're naming the place Jerusalem. They are the Jews, or the Ashkenazi Jews. So a Jew, the sidelocks, they not full-blood Russian or white. That's why they look somewhat Middle Eastern. You get it? Meaning if you look at an older Jew, that's the curly sideburns and all of that, he could pass for an Arab. Some of them get real white. Maybe not so much, but I guess an Arab, where if he has a white beard. You get my point? And so we have to do with that. Meaning viewing them like, not 100%, but this video is not about that. This video is, explaining to you guys what a Jew is. Therefore, blacks don't no longer have to run around saying they're Jews, embarrassing themselves. All you have to do is pick up a book or just listen. So, hopefully y'all grasp it. And so that's how you get Jews, which is basically the people you see with the curly sideburns. If you look at images of old Hebrews, they have that style. It's unique to those people. Those people are your Jews, meaning the Russians that colonized that area, they come from the Julius Caesar family tree. Those that colonized and went there and mixed bread in with the indigenous people there, and then you get it. Over time, you have a whole race of people now going by Jew. But, you know, they're descendants of these Russians that come from the Julius Caesar family tree. And so Jew was like an old day to the family, Julius Caesars. Now, you may be Black Hebrew. Let me give you some biblical reference to go with it. I'm going to go to Matthew chapter 19 and read 6, verse 6 and 7. Matthew 19, verse 6 and 7. This is to show you that the Jews come from the Julius Caesar family tree and they worship Julius Caesar. Just in case you say, no, that's incorrect. How I know Julius Caesar and Jew just don't sound the same? Okay, well, according to the Bible, where y'all got that word Jew from, those Jews in that Bible, I'm about to read how they worship Julius Caesar. And that's why they're called Jews. Now, chapter 19, verse 6, it says, this is in the book of Matthew. Chapter 19, verse 6, it says, oh, I'm sorry, I got the wrong one. Don't worry, it's just like when the Hebrews do it on the corner. They take forever too. But you don't have to worry about it. I'm looking for the verse if anyone's a biblical robot. I'm looking for the verse in Matthew when I'm looking for the verse in Matthew. I hope it ain't Mark and I wrote Matthew. But I'm looking for the verse in Matthew where the Jew was telling Pilate, like, if you don't kill him, you're not no friend of Caesar. But I want to give y'all the exact verse. Some of y'all have read it and you know what I mean, and others of you probably not. Like I said, if any of you are well versed in that, let me know. Damn, y'all ain't no biblical scholars in here? Y'all be running y'all mouth online like y'all know. I don't memorize the Bible. I just know it. Alright, I ain't gonna spend too much time looking. I'm gonna try one time. If not, if you ever read Matthew when they're like crucifying Jesus. I'm looking for when they captured Jesus, like I said, and was going to crucify him. And the Jew was arguing with Pilate. This is the Roman guy that they turned him over to. I think I found it. No, that's not it. Sorry, I didn't find it. Sorry, I didn't find it yet. Damn, where is it? That is deep. When the last time y'all actually read a book? Can't believe y'all don't know it. That's why they get mad at y'all because I don't know it. I mean, I can't believe y'all don't know it. Chapter 18 is where Pilate is mentioned. Chapter 18 is where they, I was going to get to that one. I didn't want to skip ahead, but chapter 18 got something else in there that I wanted to discuss. Chapter 18 is basically showing that the Jews turned this God y'all call Jesus over to the Romans, you know, the precursor to the Roman Catholic Church. That way you guys can understand that a Jew is a killer of God. This is why the religion is how it is, where God is like killed, strung up. But like I said, I wanted to read John 19:12. Thank you, different angles. I knew I messed up on the book. I'm like, it's not this book. It's another one. It's John 19:6 and 7. I apologize. You know, when you get old, you start slipping a little bit. Hey, you don't have to worry about it. Don't worry about it. Oh, yeah, I'm retarded. It says it in my book. Meaning in my notes it says John 19. Okay. Show y'all my book. It say John, clear as day right there. I'm gonna get my life together. I'm getting old. Getting a little whoa. Anybody want to be my student and take my place? Anybody want to prepare to take my place? I think I just lost my step. Hey, y'all keep track of the day. This shit deep. This is the first of many to come. And that's real life, meaning we all get old. I have no clue how that happened. But it have to be old age kicking in. You get it? And so, keep track of that. Next year, if next year you hear me and you like, yeah, blood ain't making. No. Blood is not making no sense. Big Lucia has become old. No, I'm just playing. Now let's get to this. John chapter 19, verse 6. It says, therefore, when the chief priests and officers saw him, they cried out, saying, crucify him, crucify him. They're speaking of Jesus. Now, Pilate said to them, you take him and crucify him, for I find no fault in him. The Jew answered him, we have a law, and according to our law, he ought to die because he made himself the Son of God. Therefore, when Pilate heard that saying, he was the more afraid, and went again into the praetorium and said to Jesus, where are you from? But Jesus gave him no answer. Now, let's go down to 12. You can read it yourself. It's John chapter 19. Just read the whole chapter 19 if you want the full understanding. That would be the best. But I'm going to skip down to verse 12 to show you that the Jews worship Caesar. And they come from the Julius Caesar family tree. Now, in verse 12, it says, "From then on, Pilatus sought to release him," speaking of Jesus. "But the Jews cried out, saying, 'If you let this man go, you are not Caesar's friend. Whoever makes himself a king speaks against Caesar.'" Now remember, Jesus is guilty of calling himself the Son of God. Like I told you guys, God, King, Emperor, these words are all synonymous. So they're accusing him of saying he is the Son of God, which is the equivalent of disrespecting Caesar, who is God on earth in them times, a Jew being from that family line. In the time after Caesar, though, but Caesar still being like the big homie, and you get it? He's telling the Roman, man, if you don't kill him, you disrespecting Caesar. Because we said, he said, basically, he's Caesar, our king, our God. Now I'm going to read it again. It says, "From then on, Pilatus sought to release him, but the Jews cried out, saying, 'If you let this man go, you are not Caesar's friend. Whoever makes himself a king speaks against Caesar.' When Pilatus therefore heard that saying, he brought Jesus out and sat down in the judgment seat, in a place that is called the Pavement, but in Hebrew, Gabbatha. Now it was the preparation day of the Passover, and about the 6th hour, and he said to the Jews, 'Behold your king.' But they cried out, 'Away, away with him, crucify him.' Pilatus said to them, 'Shall I crucify your king?' The chief priest of the Jews answered, 'We have no king but Caesar.'" Again, the chief priest of the Jews argued with Pilatus and told him, if you don't kill him, you disrespecting Caesar. "And we have no king but Caesar." That part. Now, if you're a black Jew, you're high. Oh yeah, let me read John 18 too. Just so y'all can get a perspective, because if you're a Jew, then you're like, no, I'm a believer in Jesus. The Jews were against Jesus. Jesus is something that they created so that, they can be established as a true religion and nation of people. You have to remember, the Hebrews are the Jews. They had no homeland. They had no nationality. So again, like I said, Russians colonized a certain area. That's what it's speaking of. And so now they're trying to establish their nationality in their country lands by saying that the Son of God comes from them. You follow? Jesus being set up for all of this, meaning he's not down for this stupidity. This is their own doing. This is why they're trying to just rush and get him killed. Or just kill him. What did he do? He said he was God. Kill him. Like that. Now, in Peter and all the 12 disciples, they were in on it. They set Jesus up. Meaning Simon Peter. After they conquered Jesus, I'll read it. John chapter 18. Chapter 15. John chapter 18, verse 15. We'll start at 14. This is after Jesus is conquered. Simon Peter cuts off one of the dude's ears and they take Jesus away. This is the beginnings of his crucifixion. John 18, verse 14. Now it was Caiaphas who advised the Jews that it was expedient that one man should die for the people. Meaning, like I said, this was already strategized by the Jews. We need to find one amongst our own to kill. I'll go up a little more. Chapter 18, verse 11. So Jesus said to Peter, "Put your sword into the sheath. Shall I not drink the cup which my Father has given me?" Then the detachment of troops and the captain and the officers of the Jews arrested Jesus and bound him. The Jews captured Jesus, and they led him away to Annas first, for he was the father-in-law of Caiaphas, who was the high priest that year of the Jews. Now it was Caiaphas who advised the Jews that it was expedient that one man should die for the people. Expedient means this is not just, but we need to get on with it. Not, I don't want you to get lost. This is not just, it means like this is not right, but who cares? So if you hear that word expedient, it means like that. It needs you to hurry up and do something, but this thing ain't right. But who cares? Just get it done. Like I said, the Jews already prophesied all of this. They already picked the woman that was going to have the baby, that was going to be this sacrifice. And they was going to parade this child, all grown men around, professing him as God. Him not being with it, him not in agreement to it. But they're just doing that. You get it? And then he's sacrificed for saying he's God, but he never said that. They all did. You follow? Most people don't read the scripture. And so you pick up your book, you go to John 18, you'll grasp, okay, the Jews is against what we view as God. They captured him. You get it? They brought him to the Roman power. They already had a plan that this needed to happen before he was even born. You get it? Meaning the telling of Jesus' birth and all of that have to do with what was already prophesied, which is we need to get one of our own to have a baby boy. This boy is going to be raised as a genius, thinking he's the son of God, and you get it. And at the right time, we're going to kill him in front of the whole world. Hopefully the religion catch. You get it? This is how religion start. Tupac thing, you know. Only 20 years in on Tupac, maybe 30, but you get my point? You gotta let it catch. Now, so don't be surprised if 50 years from now Tupac is a prophet, and you like, huh? No, he wasn't. I was alive then. 50 years from now, I'm 90, 91. So, you might be 91. You're like, oh, no, he ain't. I was around in them times. He was a regular person. So you follow? Real life theater, peace and wisdom. And so if you claim that you're a Jew, you have no clue what you are. You truly have no clue what you claim. But let's continue. Chapter 18, verse 15. And Simon Peter followed Jesus. Simon Peter's Jesus' buddy. They just captured Jesus. The Jews. And Simon Peter followed Jesus, and so did another disciple. Now that disciple was known to the high priest, the Jews, and went with Jesus into the courtyard of the high priest. But Peter stood at the door outside. Then the other disciple, who was known to the high priest, went out and spoke to her who kept the door, and then brought Peter in. Then the servant girl who kept the door said to Peter, "You are not also one of this man's disciples, are you?" And Peter said, "I am not." Now the servants and officers who had made a fire of coals stood there, for it was cold. And these are the ones that captured Jesus. They made a fire. And they warmed, I'll read it again. Now the servants and officers who had made a fire of coals stood there, for it was cold, and they warmed themselves. And Peter stood with them and warmed himself. And And the high priest then asked Jesus about his disciples and his doctrine. Now, you tell me if I'm bugging when I tell you they all set him up. Peter was with him, according to the book I just read. Peter was with the Jesus. They tried to capture Jesus. Peter cut off one of their ears. Thank you to whoever gave that. I appreciate that. Now, like I said, Peter was standing with Jesus. They tried to subdue Jesus. Peter cut off one of the Jews' ears. Peter and the rest of them being Jews themselves. Jesus too. Peter cut off one of the Jews' ears. Then Jesus tell them to chill out. They capture Jesus. They take him to the high priest. High priest sitting in the courtyard is being guarded, or the doors being guarded by a damsel. Peter and another disciple follows them as they take Jesus to the high priest. Now you keep in mind, they didn't, for some reason, Peter just cut off one of their ears, but they didn't touch Peter, which is strange. They just conquered Jesus and walked off. And Peter followed them, and none of them looked back at Peter and the disciple and said, "Why are you following us? Get lost, weirdos." They just let them follow them to the high priest. Then it gets interesting. The disciple whose name they didn't say, he went in toward the high priest while Peter stood at the door. That's so you know. I don't want you to get lost and say, no, maybe Peter and them was walking far behind and they didn't see them. When they got there, the disciple went inside, meaning they knew him. He talked to the high priest, came back out, told the girl at the door, let Peter in. She's hesitant because she's like, ain't you with the Jesus fellow? He said, I ain't. Move, bitch. Now, I like to put that part in there. Move out of my way. And he walked in. Now, when Peter goes into where the high priest and where they took Jesus at, of course, those who captured Jesus, they're there standing over the fire, keeping themselves warm. He joined them. I'll continue reading. Meaning, if you think you're a Jew, you have no clue what a Jew is. It's unfortunate for you. Like I said, a Jew is one who is a Satan worshiper, basically. A killer of what y'all view as God. Now, you can't kill God, but like I said, they sacrifice one of their own. They lie, tell everybody he is God. It's a deep thing you have to grasp when you're reading the text. Most don't read it, but start at 15 again. Chapter 18, verse 15. And Simon Peter followed Jesus, and so did another disciple. Now that disciple was known to the high priest, and went with Jesus into the courtyard of the high priest. But Peter stood at the door outside. Then the other disciple who was known to the high priest went out and spoke to her who kept the door, and brought Peter in. Then the servant girl who kept the door said to Peter, "You are not also one of this man's disciples." Peter said, "I am not." Now the servants and officers who made a fire of coals stood there, for it was cold, and they warmed themselves. And Peter stood with them and warmed himself. You ever heard of a snake before? Meaning some of y'all like, oh shit, I didn't know Peter did that. Peter's a snake. That's why if you go watch my video, why do they call Suge Simon? Simon Peter. Big homie. The big snake. Simon Peter, Jesus' big homie. He the one that protect him in the Bible. That's why he cut their ear off. But, get it? After they subdued him, he pulled up and chilled with them that cut his ear off. And nobody said nothing. Like they know Simon Peter. They keep asking him, wasn't you his disciple, playing stupid and shit? Y'all just kidnapped him and blood was just there and cut your ear off. How you don't remember him that fast? Like that. And that you know Peter got a high authority where you can't just bring accusation against Peter and say, nah, blood is one of Jesus' disciples. You got to play dumb and be like, ain't you? And hope he just be like, yeah, I am. And so Simon Peter important in regards to the Jews. Now, it says, now the servants, I'm reading verse 18. Now the servants and officers who made a fire of coals stood there, for it was cold, and they warmed themselves. And Peter stood with them and warmed himself. The high priest then asked Jesus about his disciples and his doctrine. Jesus answered him, I spoke openly to the world. I always taught in synagogues and in the temple where the Jews always meet, and in secret I have said nothing. He's basically saying, why are you asking me dumbass questions? Y'all heard everything I said. I said it where y'all fellowship at. Basically telling them you don't have to ask me what I said. I speak publicly. I don't talk in secret. Now, 21. It says, why do you ask me? Ask those who have heard me what I said to them. Indeed, they know what I said. And when he had said these things, one of the officers who stood by struck Jesus with the palm of his hand, saying, do you answer the high priest like that? So to put it in real perspective, the high priest asked Jesus, what did you say? Like, you say you was God? And Jesus say, man, I spoke in public. What you mean what I said? You asked them what I said. They heard everything I've ever said. Homeboy with the high priest slapped dog shit out of you. Who the fuck you think you talking to? You about to die, blood. Like, you get it? I'm putting it into real life for y'all. Because y'all will just read the text like, oh. In real life, they're like, you get it? They itching and whacking. Please say something smart, nigga. I'm gonna dust your ass off in here. So when he answered the high priest in that way, like, ask them, they know what I said. Homeboy slapped the dog shit out of him. Told him, you speak to the high priest in that way? Like that. Meaning this shit deep. If you ever read it, you say, damn, Peter was a snake. Next level snake. He played this role all the way to the end. Cut his ear off and all that. Now, verse 22, it says, and when he had said these things, one of the officers who stood by struck Jesus with the palm of his hand, saying, do you answer the high priest like that? Jesus answered him, if I have spoken evil, bear witness of that evil. But if well, why do you strike me? Basically saying, if I ain't say nothing wrong, why are you slapping me? Now Simon Peter, then Annas, then Annas sent him bound to Caiaphas the high priest. Now Simon Peter stood and warmed himself. Therefore they said to him, you are not also one of his disciples, are you? He denied it and said, I am not. One of the servants of the high priest, a relative of him whose ear Peter cut off, meaning the one whose ears Peter cut off, one of his relatives, said, did I not see you in the garden with him? Meaning he was there. They came, they subdued Jesus. Peter cut one of their ears off. His relative, like blood, I remember you. You was there. Remember, this just happened. So nobody's dumb. One of the servants of the high priest, a relative of him whose ear Peter cut off, said, did I not see you in the garden with him? Peter then denied again, and immediately a rooster crowed. Then they led Jesus from Caiaphas to the praetorium, and it was early morning, but they themselves did not go into the praetorium, lest they should be defiled, but that they might eat the Passover. Follow? Meaning they gonna eat Jesus. Humans is meat too. The Jews are gonna crucify this man and eat his flesh on a Passover. They're using the term lamb. You get it? This man is going to be the lamb for the Passover. Meaning if you were, you don't know what you is if you were Christian, but only if you knew. Now if you want to, this is what I do, you know. So if you ever want a one-on-one and go through certain verses, you can always reach out to upscaleknowledge@gmail.com. That's what I do. Top level scholarship. But Most of y'all that claim y'all are Jews, y'all have no clue what that is. Meaning you never picked up the actual text. You never had someone with an understanding. You get it like mine. Read it to you where you can see yourself and say, I never noticed that. Again, John chapter 18. You could just read the whole chapter if you want. But everything I read is from verse 11 to about 29. But like I said, it's best to read the whole verse. I don't play word games or nothing like that. I don't want you to get confused in no way. But you like, he changing the text. I'm reading it exactly how it said. Most of y'all read that part before, but you already have the perspective in your mind. No, the Jews is the people of Jesus. You completely forgot. Wait, the Jews the one that turned him over. Like that. So when y'all claiming to be the Jews, y'all doing it because y'all like, no, the Jews is the people of Jesus. No, they the people against him. They the ones that turned him over. They the ones that requested he be killed. The 12 disciples are apostles. It's a word like opposer. Apostle means like opposer. And oppose, like in court you say I oppose. You got your 12 jurors. Like that. The 12 apostles are your 12 jurors are opposers. So they keep questioning Jesus to see like, I thought you said this, I thought you said that. They're trying to find an angle to say, yeah, he said he was God, take him away. You follow? So they're just following Jesus around, making him famous, saying that he's God, while trying to find an angle to make him say it. That way when they conquer him, but that never happened. He kept saying, I'm not God, I am one with you. So you get it? You got to understand what you're reading, but even Mary was against him. This is why when he was on the cross, if you ever wondered, damn, I wonder why his moms ain't like lose her mind like most mothers would and just be like, fuck that, I'm dying for my baby. She just stood there like that. Meaning when they came to Mary in the beginning, and it says the angel of the Lord came to Mary and said, you going to have a baby. Like that. Y'all looking at it from a strange perspective, like magic tricks. Y'all not looking at it like angel mean messenger. The Lord is the king of the lands. And the angel of the Lord is the messenger who deliver his word to the people. These are just titles of old. We have our own now. Mailman. No. The mailman. Well, yeah, I guess you could say the mailman would be the messenger or the angel of whatever city. You get it? It's deep. But when it says the angel came to Mary and all of that, it's speaking in that way. Immaculate birth mean like Mary. I don't feel like going through all of that. Like I said, you guys can get a one-on-one and I'll take you through the verses. But Mary had sex with her own father. That's why it says immaculate birth. You follow? This is why the Lord came to Joseph and said, don't put her away. This is something that we need her to do. Meaning they probably paid Mary and they said, you're going to have a boy, a nice Jewish boy, and we're going to make sure we send him to the best schools, make sure he the wisest that we can get him to. And in a certain time, you going to give us this boy and we going to kill him. And you going to do this for the people. Meaning we got to be a real nationality of people, and we trying to get the whole world to view us as the people of God. Descendants of the Julie Caesar line, big baby. Mary probably was poor and agreed. Now, when a woman have a baby, then Mary probably changed her mind. Like, nah. So that's when they fled. This is when the wise men pursued them. Like, where is you going? We paid you to do what you doing. See, y'all don't know the text in depth. Y'all just know the 66 books here. Y'all don't know where they come from. To get a perspective of the full story, to say, okay, I get it now. She made a deal with them, but then she reneged and tried to escape with the boy. So they sought her out. Where you going? All of them 12 apostles are Jesus's brothers. Maybe not directly, but like this. Because Mary's a whore or a harlot. I apologize. Like I said, Mary's a whore or a harlot in perspective. So, let's say me and you are brothers. Meaning me and you are brothers, we have the same mama. Different father. Stay with me. Me and you are brothers. We have the same mother, different father. Now, your father's in the household, but my father has another family over here. And his kids are my brothers and sisters, but not yours. In that way, all of the 12 apostles or disciples are brothers. Not all directly towards one another, but they're all brothers in that way. You follow? That's why it says like, John, the brother of James. And it get confusing where you like, huh? They all, it seem like they all brother, what? Like that. Mary got a lot going on, let's say. Well, the 12 apostles are not her children, but Jesus and whichever ones are, and the ones that are not her kids, they're still related like through father. You follow? Jesus' father being her father. So Jesus is her son and her brother. It's a strange, it's a deep thing. Y'all don't understand, but this is why her and Jesus is in that way. And when you hear them speaking of Mary Magdalene, they're speaking of the mother Mary. Remember, she's his sister and his mama. That part. And so, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary is the same person. They speak of all these Marys as different women because Mary is a harlot. So in different places, she may be known as Jesus' disciple. She followed him around like the 12 disciples. In other places, she's known as his mother. In other places, she's known as his sister. So in the Bible, when they're speaking of Mary, in different ways, are they speaking of different Marys, which is how you would perceive it, like, oh, it was just a lot of chicks named married in the past. No. They're speaking of the same person from a different perspective of however she's known. You follow? Those that know her from, I guess, when she had Jesus, they say that's his mama. Those that really know what happened, like, yeah, she gets busy, big baby, that's her brother too, but the daddy. That's why the father is always used in that way. He's from the father. But try and grasp. If y'all following, let me know. I don't want to waste good images. And so when you're dealing with that story, you have to have the right understanding. But you can read John chapter 19 straight through, and you'll see for yourself everything I just said. I'm just reading straight from the script. Of course, I understand more than just the script, but the script says it all. Peter betrayed him. Like I said, the 12 apostles are his opposers, his brothers though. And so they jealous of him because they like, he was raised to be God, and they told that he God. So you get it, there's envy there. Why he gotta be God? But I guess as they get older and they realize, oh, he's gonna get killed. That's why. Then they like, good, I'm glad. You know, built up envy. All these years you've been envious of your brother to find out, man. blood raised up, he being raised up to be killed. So you like, oh, good, let's get on with it then, because I've been hating this motherfucker all this time. Now I thought, like, why couldn't I be God? Kind of like special treatment, but like a sacrificial lamb. A lamb is treated great before they kill it and fry it. And so it go deep. But like I said, the Jews, when you're dealing with the Passover, they ate Jesus. This is why at the Last Supper, which is like before the Passover, Jesus being sacrificed before the Passover. This is why he gave the 12 apostles the bread and the wine and said, this is like my flesh, this is like my blood. Because he's telling them, I know what y'all gonna do and I know what y'all been doing. Y'all lining me up to get killed. And y'all playing dumb on it. Like y'all don't know what y'all doing, you get it? And so when he's telling them that, like, eat the bread, eat the wine, it's my flesh. And he's telling each of them, like, you gonna betray me before the rooster crow 3 times and you a snake, and you get it? They don't get that he's telling them, I already get y'all plan. I kind of figured it out now. I'm grown. I get it. Y'all bringing me along to make me this famous person so when y'all kill me, goofy little religion could catch. So he's telling them, eat the bread, eat the wine. There you go. You a snake, you a snake, you a snake. But they're defending themselves like, no, no, no. They don't understand. He gets it. He's not just calling you a snake because he's assuming, like, maybe y'all snaking me. He gets the whole plan. He knows y'all are going to eat him tomorrow. But they're so lost that he don't know. They're like, no, I wouldn't betray you. They're not taking the sign like, damn, he gave us the bread and said it was his flesh. And he gave us the wine and said it was his blood. I think he knows what we're going to do to him. Like, we're going to crucify him. A crucifix is how you put animals. Meaning you have a stake. In the past, they didn't have stoves. They had like an altar. This is like a fire pit. And this is how you cooked in the past. It's called the altar because it ain't just a fire pit for you to keep yourself warm. This one is fashioned for you to cook. So you probably had your stones and stuff around it. You know, like a stove has the X or the burners. And if you look at your burner, it's in that X shape. Like that. And that's where the Christ goes. The Christ is the sacrifice. In this case, we're speaking of a man, but I'm explaining how animals are cooked over these altars. You have a stake. A stake is stuck through the animal's ass. Let's say a 4-legged animal, a sheep. The stake is stuck through the animal's asshole. It comes out of its throat. Now, imagine in your mind a 4-legged animal. Maybe you have a dog. If you stick something straight through its ass, it will come out its throat. And then that is lifted over the fire, and the animal, you get it? They turn it. And the animal is cooked over the fire. Now, sometimes you want to do a deep cook. This is when they bust the animal open and spread its legs apart. That's when they use a crucifix. Meaning a crucifix is an instrument that you use for cooking animals. They still use these in today. And you take the animal's arms and their legs, or both their legs, I guess you could say, and you spread it out. Meaning you take the top and you spread it out, and then you wrap the bottom. Like how y'all know Jesus was sacrificed. So just imagine like a pig or a lamb being cut open, you know, prepared to cook, and then the arms or the top legs being like pulled apart and stretched out on the crucifix. And then the bottom legs kind of wrap. You know how you do an animal when you're cooking it over the fire. And then they put it over the fire and turn it. And that you get it like it's like a slow cook, meaning where the meat inside just be. That's longer cooking, but you get my point. You're trying to cook it all the way through and make it like you want it. And so this is all reference that Jesus was going to be eaten. Meaning the religion has to do with sacrilege, which is when you disrespect God. In an assault-like manner, where you say like, you know, we gonna kill God or whatever, a blasphemy. And so you get my point? Christianity is a Satan worship. Or Judaism too. This is why they wear the goat look, meaning Jews. They have the goat teeth. And you get it? Those represent like the goat ears. But goats have those hairs like that on their own. And then their ears are there. So those are like the goat people of old, are those that worship Satan. And so this is why in y'all religion, y'all say like, I'm going to wash myself in the blood of Jesus and Jesus is going to die for my sins. You see how it's all selfish in its nature? Damn, why God got to die for me? That's stupid. Why can't I just do right? What the fuck do God dying for me have to do with anything in life? What's up with all this death? See, a Christian don't think like that. Say, damn, this shit is kind of wicked. Like, why? It's for y'all to, that's why it says you have to profess out your mouth that Jesus is going to die for your sins. Remember, Jesus is God. So when you say that, that is blasphemy. Blasphemy is a lie against God. Remember, God is the everlasting. Y'all can't kill God. Y'all couldn't even see God. You're a physical goddamn man. If I tell you right now, kill God, do you get my point? You can't. God is life. God is everlasting. Man, you don't even have no... Man don't even got a path to him. Let alone to talk about you killed God. Blood, you couldn't even see God. You flesh and blood, fool. What the fuck is you even talking about? So in the past, if you spoke in that way, they would have looked at you like, oh, he's a blasphemer. He worshipped the devil. Look how he disrespecting God. Like that. Remember, we talking just talk. You can't do nothing to God but talk shit. So blasphemy. Maybe you could disrespect something here in physical life that's good and innocent. That's sacrilege. And so, if you're a Christian, this is why you have to profess that with your mouth. In that, you're a certified Satan worshiper, meaning you're selfish and you only care about yourself. This is why you have no problem with God dying for your sins. And that's all the religion is for, to test the souls of man. Are you willing to say God will die for you? You are a sinner. If you don't have no morality in you to say, hold on, that don't sound right. For me to let somebody else get thrown under the bus for my sin ain't right. That's not even right amongst men. Meaning amongst men I would be dishonorable if I let another man die for my sins, knowing I'm the sin and he's innocent. How it ain't dishonorable towards God if it's even dishonorable towards men? That part, a Christian got no honor, no morals. They don't realize I'm selfish in my nature. This is why I got caught by that trick. The religion is a Loki. That's why the God in the Bible is Elohim. Meaning if you go to the Torah, which is where the Bible comes from, it says in the beginning the Elohim. El is just the letter L. So it's really Loki. And that's plural for Loki, the trickster God. If you need a reference, in Christianity, all the angels have El at the end of their name. Micah, El, Raphael. But it's not L. It's just the sounding out of the letter. Because El is just spelling the letter L. I guess in the past, L was a word. The letter. But you have to spell it if you're speaking in terms of the word. You follow? Think like L is a letter and L is a word. In terms of L as the word, you spell it, E-L. In terms of L as the letter, you just sound it out, la 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 la. Somehow that got confused in writing. So instead of writing Gabriel, if you understand the E-L at the end, it's just the letter L. They made a mistake and spelled out the letter L. They could have just put the letter L. Gabriel becomes Gabriel, which is how they pronounce it in Islam. You follow? And so that's a reference if you think, well, how do I know E-L is really how you spell a letter L? That's why in Islam they got the same angel names, but they pronounced not E-L at the end, but just the letter L sound. You get it? Gabriel instead of Gabriel. And so when you see Elohim, you just take the E-L and it's just an L. And you sound out that L. La 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 la. Lokim. In the beginning, the Lokim created the heavens and earth. This is plural for Loki. Loki being your trickster god of old. The religion is a Loki. It tests the man's morals. I'm going to tell you that God will die for your sins. God did nothing. You did whatever you did. I'm not even saying y'all sinned, but it say y'all did. And so do you get my point? I'm going to tell you God's going to die for your wrongdoings. Let's see if you go with it. Let's see if he has the morality to say, no, that's not right. And I don't see how I still can't be a worshiper of God, denouncing his death part. Why would God be mad at me if I say you don't have to die for my sins? You could live and I'll just get my shit together. Meaning, if you're not a Christian, do you think God would be mad at you? If you said, man, I can't do that. I can't go with the God going to die for my sins, but what I could do is not sin anymore. And maybe God don't have to die for me, because that's just ugly. I don't want God to die. God is life. If God died, there's no life. So what do you need to die for me for? Christians don't do that. They don't think on it. That part. They're lost in the world. The world said what it said, which is God going to die for your sins. Meaning the bulk of y'all born into this world, y'all hear people saying that from the moment y'all can speak. Grown-ups who've been here before y'all. And that's where y'all got it from, the world. That part. The book tell you don't follow the world, but y'all don't lead the world. Y'all listen to the men in it. So y'all say, in Jesus' name we pray, amen. And so you have to grasp, if you're a black Hebrew, you might want to get rid of that. Meaning you're not a black Jew, that's not even a nationality. That's a word for a family line called the Julius Caesars. And your ass damn sure in the Julius Caesar line. If you're black, you got to know that. And so I'm going to take a restroom break. If any of you guys want to get back, y'all can. If y'all have any questions, ask. Be right back. Okay. Taking the rest of this knowledge. Now, when you're dealing with the actual Jesus character, thank you guys for giving back. I appreciate that. Those of you that can't, don't beat yourself up too much. This channel ain't about all that. But Some of y'all are abusive in y'all using ways. Just don't be so abusive, but peace and wisdom, Crystal Jeff. Oh, that's you, Crystal Jefferson Salam. Yeah, get them likes up, man. I'm about to make different angles of Crystal Jefferson or one of you guys that been, y'all come in here, y'all supportive, not just monetarily. I mean, like, always keeping me in good spirits for the most part. Not saying anything negative. If you want to, you can. I know the difference between criticism and good advice. Advice being something coming from someone who has love for you. Criticism being something that comes from someone that has hate for you. The criticism gonna always come after the fact, don't even matter no more. You get it? Like a rub in the face advice. It don't matter now. Advice gonna always come before the mistake. Do you follow? This is the difference between advice and criticism. Advice gonna come from a loved one, and it's gonna come before whatever they're telling you about. The criticism gonna be after you already performed or did whatever you did, and then a nigga just chopping you down, telling you what you should have did after it's over. That's not advice. That's not a good thing. That's criticism. It's coming from a negative place. So put that in your back pocket. That's just a jewel. And I know y'all live in times where people say things like, criticism is healthy. They're just trying to find a means to abuse you. You follow? You have to always keep that in mind. There are phrases that man does use, all trick phrases, for him to do whatever he wants with another. You follow? Now, if you go with that and you say, no, criticism is okay, well, you're going to be getting abused. Like I said, advice going to come before all of that, and advice ain't going to sound or feel nothing like criticism. It's going to sound like advice. If you don't listen, there ain't nothing to say. Get it? If a person got love for you, they not about to... The most they might say is, I told you already. Which is reference to you, I gave you advice. And I told you before the error. The criticism won't come after the error. In that, it don't even matter at that point. They say, nah, well, it's for next time. Blood, I already made the error. You think I don't know on my own? You get it? So keep that in mind. Therefore, you don't get abused so much. You keep everything on the up and up. If somebody trying to criticize you after the fact, you let them know that. Listen, man, advice come before the error. The next time you have so-called good criticism for me, make it advice and make it come before the error. Other than that, you're just a hater. And just somebody talking after the point. And so keep that in mind. Now, peace and wisdom, Xavier. E-L, like I said, is the spelling of the letter. So in the Bible, the God is E-L. This is the same Canaanite God that, they were sacrificing their babies to. And that has to do with the hunger. And E-L is the letter L. You sound out the letter L, you get la 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 la. La and la is the same thing. You probably say, what you mean la and la is the same thing? La and la, both sounding the same, la and la, same thing. That's what the L stands for. Lie. This is why in Islam the God is Allah, la 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 la. And in Christianity the God is E-L, which is the spelling of the letter. So Islam has the sounding out of the letter as the name of God. Christianity has the spelling, which is the pronunciation of that letter, L. Not the sounding out of it, but the saying of the letter. So the God in Christianity is the same God that is in Islam. The L, which is the lie. Now, of course, if you say la 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 la, or lie, it's the same. And basically saying somebody talking bullshit. I'm trying to think how to say it. The Jesus character that I was just reading to y'all, this is not a real person. You follow? The Jesus character is being used as a manifestation of the God in the Bible. So Jesus the character is the Son of God, or God manifested physically. Remember, God is El, or lie. And Jesus is lie manifested physically. If you're lost in the Old Testament, they prophesy about the coming of this boy named Emmanuel, pronounced Emmanuel. Emmanuel. If you're familiar with spirit summoning practices where they have all the names of the spirits, or angels and demons, Emmanuel is one of the spirits. Aman-el. Or Aman, it's Aman, it's spelled A-M-A-N-U-E-L. Emmanuel. And that's to say, like, Amen manifested. Amen is the ancient Egyptian god, but Amen is also in spirit summoning practices. So the same spirits is in all things y'all know. Christianity, Islam, whatever. And spirit summoning practices, they name the spirits. And demonology and angelology, so they do the same. But you get my point? In the Old Testament, when they're prophesying about the Emmanuel, they're prophesying about the manifested Amen. In ancient Egypt, Amen is the god over the abyss, or the darkness. Basically, what y'all will call the devil or Satan. Now, like I said, the God in the Bible is El, or la 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 la. Of course, the devil or Satan is the father of lies, liar. And so, like I said, in the Old Testament, when they're prophesying about the Emmanuel, they're speaking about the manifested Satan. Now, here's where it goes deep. The manifested Satan, or the Emmanuel, that just being a title to mean like manifested Satan. The manifested self. Satan means self, but of course Satan is like the pinnacles of selfishness, the pinnacles of individuality, and what we know as devil, Satan, and many other things. But this physical manifestation of this lie, or Satan, is the character y'all have as Jesus. Now, so you don't get lost, you have to remember God is not physical, and neither is the Son of God. The Son of God is spirit, known as the Lord of hosts. But in the New Testament, they keep talking about this physical man, like that. Jesus is the manifested lie, posing as the Lord of hosts. Remember, the God is a lie, Satan. And the manifestation of this God, or lie, is physical lie, which is man. But the thing is this: there is no physical man that's a lie. The manifested lie. Do you follow? Now, if I ask any of y'all, where's Jesus at truly? And who sent this man? Nobody. Because it's a lie. But y'all worship this Antichrist. You ask anybody in life, man, you know Jesus? They all know this man, but he a lie. They all know him through belief or belie, but none of them seen him. And ain't no burial spot for him or nothing. There's rumors of, but where is it? Now they done dug up King Tut grave. King Tut way before Jesus. The physical man, supposedly. King Tut way before him. We talking thousands of years. How do you find a body of someone thousands of years old, but you can't find the Son of God? That part. There is no Son of God that walked as flesh and blood. That is the lie manifested. That's why no one has it. They just have the story of this man. Now, many men were crucified in the past and pronounced as God. And whichever one caught to make the story what it is, where y'all believe, no, there was a man that got crucified. That's that. Meaning many men were crucified over time by the Jews, or the Byzantine Empire, or the Julius Caesar family tree. The Jews. And I suppose one of them caught eventually, where you say, oh no, we believed he was the Spirit of God. But God don't walk in the flesh as man. Whoever was sacrificed was just a man. When the Old Testament is speaking of the manifested Emmanuel, Jesus, it's not speaking of something physically actually happening. It's speaking of how lie will manifest physically, and man who is physical will walk around and say God is a man. And they will speak the blasphemy against God. First making him a man, then saying that they killed him. And slapped him around and spit on him and beat him up. Y'all know the story. You think you could beat up God? No, you can't even see God. That's God. And so do you get it? It's a blasphemy, meaning the religion. The book is explaining that. But most don't have no understanding in the book. Maybe you can read the book. Well, I was going to say pray to God, but y'all believe in the devil. So if you pray to God and say, can you please give me understanding of this book? Well, you worship the devil in ignorance. So you ain't going to get understanding. You're going to get more confusion, which is a lie. Meaning you're going to read the book and be like, I don't get it. Some of y'all could go back right now while I'm online and read John chapter 18, 11 through 31, which is what I read for y'all. And I guarantee you're going to read the same words I did, but for some reason, you're going to get confused. But you didn't get confused when I was reading it to you like that. You've been cursed, meaning no truth. Like I told y'all, man, it works how it works. You can't be dishonorable and receive truth. So how it works, it just makes you either dislike who is providing the truth, where you don't want to listen. You get it? Meaning, let's say some of y'all are dishonorable, so the life don't want you to get the truth because you got no honor. It's going to make you not like me. Say, why you don't like Solace? You'll find a reason. Nobody wants to say, I don't know. That sounds crazy. Why you don't like so-and-so? I don't know. So you'll find a reason, but you get it? Nothing happened between me and you. I don't actually know you. But you don't like me. In that, you're not going to listen when I speak. You're going to be looking at me talking about, look at all this ego he got. Look, he licked his lips. He did like this. You going to see it, everything and hear nothing. Those that got truth in them, so they sit there, they listen, they say, damn, brother's deep. I understand the Bible now. Like that. That's why in the book it say, like, you'll be blind, deaf, and dumb. It's have to do with, like, if you decide to choose lie over truth. Which is what a lot of y'all do. Meaning a lot of y'all gonna hear this and try to dance around the point that was made to you. For your own good. Meaning this for y'all. It ain't for me. I already understand this. That's all that's required. Is for one to gain understanding. After that, I don't have to say anything. I have understanding. That's that. And I know how to live in this life now. I know what God truly is and all of that, so on and so forth. I'm making that point so you could grasp. I mean, I'm not reading it for me. Me explaining this to a Jew ain't for me. I already grasp it. I don't need to explain it for myself. But it's for y'all. Those of y'all that got truth in you, you're going to grasp it and say, the fact that he explained it is magnificent in itself, because I picked up the book and I don't even understand it. You get it? Like that. You have to have a divine understanding, but it's based on how honorable you can be, how fair you can be. This is what's known as balance. When one does not let any lie come into them. I hear the same lies and things y'all hear, but I rebuke it. That's not truth. I didn't see no truth. Y'all accept it. Say aliens is real. I didn't see an alien and no one showed me a real image of an alien. In fact, what y'all show me only proves the point in my brain that you're a liar. And you didn't see no alien. Because you know what you showed me is not sufficient. Meaning if I tell you something and you ask for proof and I show you some proof that's sloppy, you know in like, well, this person got to have a brain to know this ain't technically clear enough. That some of y'all will just go with things. Meaning a lot of y'all believe in aliens. But you haven't seen them. And whatever proofs they keep telling you that they have, you haven't seen those either. And on the newspapers having a UFO conference, but not once did they show the UFO they were speaking about. Why not? If you're talking about it, just go talk about it right in front of it. Like how Elon Musk did with his Teslas. That part. It's entertainment. Y'all forget television, radio is entertainment. Even the news is entertainment. The news don't have to tell you the truth. It's classified under television, which is entertainment. And television or entertainment, whether you're speaking movies, television shows, they're patterned after being real, meaning you're supposed to watch it, feel like it's real. When you go to the movies, you're supposed to watch the movie and feel like it's real. If someone makes a movie and it doesn't seem real, then they're just horrible at making movies. What do we need you for? I know this is fake. This looks so fake. That's the whole point of television. You have to look real. That's what make it great. If y'all can watch it and say this look fake, like that. And so the news and anything you watch on television, it ain't necessarily real because it don't have to be. You just have to be entertained. So you'll see in the daytime the news may be covering stories that you see online, like Black Wall Street, and things they never have in the past. If you watch the news in the morning, they be speaking on like yoga tips, things where if you're my age, you like, when did the news start partaking in talking about yoga and meditation? The news usually stay off religions or anything that's close to it. Meaning when I was growing up, the news would have never spoke on meditation or yoga. That's too close to Hinduism, and those that's Christians or Muslims may take offense to this news station now. In the daytimes, the news is speaking of topics that are on YouTube because they have to compete with YouTube. Meaning there was a time where the news was almost out of business. And so you get my point? TV just for that. I forgot the point I was making. I took too long. Blessed and protected. Don't skip over what was said. A lot of y'all have that problem. I've already proved that y'all have the wrong understanding, so you don't need to ask me anything according to your lost understanding. Meaning you say, yes, the Bible specifically says Israel will be taken back into slavery on ships. That transatlantic is the only slavery that was done on a mass level using ships. It's just a question. The children of Israel are indigenous people. Before colonizers come and colonize different areas and sin against these uncivilized men who damn near like animals, that part, is speaking of them. Any nationality that you see on earth, they were indigenous people, and colonizers came to them and sinned against them in their area of the forest, meaning developed it into a city and domesticated those people. When it's speaking of the children of Israel, it's speaking of those native to the forest before they're colonized. So think of the Sentinel Island people. This is like one of the last places that they're struggling with colonizing. This is where that Chinese man went a few years back and tried to read them the Bible when they shot him with an arrow and killed him. Indigenous men, not Native American tribes where they have on clothing in some civilization. That just means they've been colonized already. And they're in their first stages after this colonization, after contact and the brainwashing starts. But the Sentinel Island people are like before all of that. They don't understand nothing about civilization and don't want to. You follow? All races of people start like that before white colonizers come, and you get it? Kidnap them and domesticate them. So when you say the Bible says that the Hebrew Israelites, whatever you just said, get the Bible verse that says that. You don't have to do it now. Just get it. Or if any of you know it now, put it up. Watch this. But that's what that means. But boats been around. And colonization been happening by boats. And the men from these forests that are colonized have always been put on ships. How you think the migrants are getting from South America over here? At some point they're being put on ships. Meaning colonization won't always happen. But what do that have to do with what was said? Meaning you're still reaching for Hebrews or Jews after it was already explained to you through the Bible what a Jew is. And so my question to you is, why do y'all skip over points to go back into stupidity? Now you're seeking like, well, the Bible said Hebrew Israelites was going to be put like the transatlantic slave. Meaning you're reaching to still find an angle like, no, but blacks are the Hebrews. But I just explained to you according to what the Bible said, which is what y'all religions stand on. Not what you said. You explain to me how I explain to you in detail what a Jew is, which come from the Julie Caesar family line. According to the Jews out their own mouth in this book, when they told Pilate, if you don't sacrifice him, you ain't no friend of Caesar. We worship Caesar. How you skip over that, all of that truth and proof that didn't say nothing really. But what you say show me you still reaching to try to say like, no, black people are Jews. I mean, y'all not even Jews in real life. We already know who go by the Jews in real life. We're not talking talk. Anybody could say they're a Jew, but now who is acknowledged as Jews in this life? There you go, different angles. They want the truth to be what they want it to be. They think because they got the lie first and then the truth come after, it's their job now to defend the lie and find any angle now to say, no, but what about this? And whatever you are, you got a Bible. Pick up and read what I said. Read the whole book. That part. You could skip over the truth after it's given to you and reach for whatever you want. You could say, no, Jesus is real. I just explained to you that it ain't. Minus that, you already know God ain't supposed to be no man walking the earth. So the moment you say that dumb shit, it don't even make sense. But y'all forgot that part. Meaning y'all get lost in talk. And so Jesus was always the Spirit of God. Now in modern times, y'all saying he a real man. If Jesus is a man, then that means y'all worship man. That Yes, y'all do. So y'all say in Jesus' name we pray, amen. And y'all go out y'all way to try to convince people that God was a man that was walking around. But the book wasn't talking about that. The book was speaking about this lie walking around. This lie being this man named Jesus, that's God, that y'all all speak about and pretend like y'all know, but it's a lie. It's a lie manifested, meaning the devil is lie. Lie is just talk. Jesus, this character, is lie manifested. You say, how is Jesus a lie manifested? Because y'all are speaking about Jesus in physical life, like he was a physical person, but the foundations of all of that is a lie. This is why if I say, show me the burial spot of Jesus, y'all can't. All y'all could do is lie and pretend like, no, it's over here, it's over there. But even in the book, Jesus said, if they tell you I'm over here, over there, don't go. I'm a cold-blooded scholar. If you want to go that route, where you think you got more understanding in this book than I do, it's going to be a long day for you. But those of y'all that want to grasp and you see like, no, he got a higher understanding, you can always get a one-on-one on whatever verses you want, and that's for any book. The coming forth by day, that's the Egyptian Book of the Dead. You have the Tibetan Book of the Dead. You have the Enuma Elish. This is your ancient Sumerian writings. And they have a Jesus character too. It's called Alawala, or Geshu. And he's the god of knowledge and intelligence. That's to say awareness. And he's sacrificed by the other gods. But whatever text you're interested in, you don't have proper understanding. The understanding lies in one understanding life. When you understand life, you read the text, you understand it because they're speaking about life. So all the text is just speaking about the same thing in their own words. But if you know what they're speaking about, then it's easy to grasp. And so y'all are living in the Antichrist times. The times of the manifested lie, where y'all have this character that's the biggest thing in the world. It doesn't even, man, Jesus is in law. Meaning if you go to court, that part, the God is there. This is why in the prophecy you say the Antichrist is going to be, you get it? It's going to take the seat of government. On y'all money is saying, in God we trust. Y'all blah 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 about this man God named Jesus, but y'all can't show one proofs of it because it's a lie. But that's the point. Lie ain't real, so the man that represents lie manifested can't be ether. But like lie, he has to be spoken of as if he is real. You follow? Again, lie ain't real. So if Jesus is the manifested lie, or the lie born out, technically he can't be real either. He just has to be portrayed around or believed to be real like any lie. And this is what y'all have in real life. A character that is a lie that y'all speak of as if it's a real. And it's a blasphemy against God because y'all are saying God is a man that got beat the fuck up and then strung up like a lamb and eaten. Now, when you know the true understandings of YHWH, let's start with the pronunciation of it. YHWH ain't Yahweh, Yahweh, none of that. It's pronounced you. In the past, they didn't use vowels, so YH is ya, WH, woo, you. And they did that in ancient Egypt too. If you lost and you think I'm just making that up, go look at ancient Egypt writing. They got like NT. They never used the vowels. Am I lying? Yeah, I've seen ancient Egyptian writing. Or that, what they call hieroglyph writing. Like that. When you look up nut, it don't say N-U-T, it just say N-T. You fill in the vowel yourself. Again, in the past, they didn't use vowels. It was a disrespect to God. God being viewed as sound. Sound being air. Of course, within the airs, you have your atomic levels of life coming together to manifest substance. Rain. As well as the substances of life. This is seminal fluid. Meaning you got all these animals here, all these life forms, they all start as substance. Man too. Start as seminal fluid, just like a dog starts as its seminal fluid. That yoki stuff. That white holy ghostly stuff. So do you get it? YHWH is pronounced you. And the teachings have to do with you. Meaning the God, YHWH, that's being spoken of, is speaking of the spirit or the substance in you. This is why you say Jesus or God is a spirit. Spirit means liquid. Like I said, all life forms start as their substance or liquid. Of course, we know that's seminal fluid. But the seminal fluid of a dog ain't the same as a man. And so this is why Jesus or the YHWH speaks like, I'm Yoki. I'll read some for y'all. Let's go to Revelations chapter 1, verse 7. This is just to show you that Jesus ain't real. Jesus is a falsehood of YHWH. Meaning Jesus is making the YHWH, which is the spirit of God, a man. I'm about to show you right now in the book that Jesus, or not Jesus, but YHWH, is a liquid or a spirit. That's the same. Like when you go to the liquor store, it says wine and spirits. That's the same we have. That's to say we have liquids here. Wine is more organic than spirits. Meaning when you're dealing with wine, you're just dealing with old fruit. When you're dealing with Hennessy or liquor, you're dealing with spirits because you're dealing with a mixture of chemicals that is a substance or a liquid. So wine is natural. It comes from fruits. Spirits ain't. It's a mixture of different chemicals to make a substance. So Hennessy would be a spirit. Moscato wine, let's say, that would just be a wine. You get it? Like that. I'm giving you that reference so you can grasp. Spirit always means liquid. Even if you look it up in the dictionary and it doesn't say liquid, it says like an invisible ghost. Then you ask yourself, well, why did they put wine and spirits then? If spirit is a ghost, then what ghost can I buy out the liquor store? In that, you'll grasp, okay, Solace is right. Spirits mean liquid. And this is how you summon the spirits in the past, but I don't feel like going into that. That's a whole different topic. But just to keep things straight, YHWH is what we know as seminal fluid. This is your Holy Ghost, the Lord of Hosts. Of course, all the sperm cells are within the substance. The seminal fluid, semen. That's why it's called the Lord of Hosts. This is why Jesus is referred to as Yoki. But I'm going to read. Revelations chapter 1, verse 7. It says, behold, he is coming. Remember, I said seminal fluid, which is come, is what the Lord of Hosts, or YHWH, is. And this is the spirit of life. Get it? However you want to cut it. It's your beginnings, the goddamn dog's beginning. Every life form starts from its yolk, putty. And so it says, behold, he is coming with clouds. Think of seminal fluid, how it's gray and cloudy. Maybe you're a woman, you don't see seminal fluid so often. If you a man, think of seminal fluid, how it's gray and cloudy looking. Remember, they always say Jesus come from the Father. That is the reference, meaning seminal fluid, or that Holy Ghost that a man ejaculates out, it always come from the Father. It wouldn't matter what person is born from it. I'm a man, I have a daughter, but when I ejaculated her out as seminal fluid, that part, that soul came from the Father before it went inside the mother's womb and got an egg cell or a body like that. Jesus is the spirit before it's tarnished by any blood, or you get my point? Flesh. This is all in the menses, you know, where the egg cell is. Now it says, behold, he is coming with clouds, and every eye will see him, even they who pierced him, and all the tribes of the earth will mourn because of him. Even so, amen. Now think of seminal fluid when I read that. Then you say, okay, I do get it. It do make sense. I'll read it again. Behold, he is coming with clouds, and every eye will see him. Which of y'all have never seen semen? But y'all mock it. Are you fucking God? Even they who pierced him. This is coming from the Father. You look at a man's dick, he got the piercing in it. But before you get a man, it start with that substance. Right? Meaning I'm a man, I ejaculate out YHWH or seminal fluid from my piercing. But you have to remember, I was ejaculated out my father as that substance. That substance becoming who y'all see today. With the piercing in the dick, where they pierced me. Again, am I not a piece of seminal fluid that came into this physical life just like the rest of y'all? Now when you're dealing with the fathers, that part, they have a piercing. Even a woman, a vagina hole is a piercing. But speaking of men, this is where the spirits come from. A woman comes from the Father too. I don't want you to get lost, but in seminal fluid form, meaning in liquid form, we not female or male, we just sons of the Father. S-U-N, sons of the Father, like consciousness. Now it says, I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, says the Lord, who is and who was and who is to come. That part. What's the beginning? Ejaculation. Meaning, what's the beginnings of your physical existence as a person? Your daddy ejaculated your ass out. And what's the end? That, meaning that spirit or that ejaculate from the beginning, which is now in the spinal chamber bound up, that's the end. And so do you get it? Mustache going in my mouth. Shit. Oh, wait till I told y'all I was going to do it, but I didn't. I'm going to do it though. Kill y'all with the piano man mustache one day. My drink will be mad long and curled up. Fire! I'm going to get it shaped up and all of that. Because my mustache hella long on the low. Sides too. Now, where was I? I'm sorry, I like to look at myself. I'm sorry, where was I? John 1:7. Now I'm going to go to 17 so y'all can see again. It says, and when I saw him, I fell at his feet as dead. But he laid his right hand on me, saying to me, do not be afraid. I am the last. No, that's wrong. Hold on. Revelations 1:17. I'm sorry, I made an old man mistake and I must have jotted down the wrong thing again. But don't worry, I have backup. What did I mess up this time? Let me slap my own self. Oh, Revelations 1. Yeah, 17 and 20. Well, don't worry about that. Let's go to 22. Revelations 22. Verse 7. Now watch this deep thing. It says, "Behold, I am coming quickly. Blessed is he who keeps the words of the prophecy of this book." Then if you go down to verse 12, it says, "And behold, I am coming quickly, and my reward is with me to give to everyone according to his work." That's a reference to come. I am coming quickly. There's nothing y'all know that come quicker than come. A man's ejaculate just comes. Nobody could say when. You get it? A man cannot tell you, "I'm going to come right now." All he could do is scream out in the moment, "I'm coming." Like lightning to come. That part. And these is all the references for you to grasp. Jesus is come. Now, if you go to 17, it says, like I said, I'm going to read 7 again, then I go to 17. It says, "Behold, I am coming quickly." We're speaking of YHWH or Jesus. Why would it say that? That don't even make no sense. Unless you grasp what it is. "Behold, I am coming quickly. Blessed is he who keeps the words of the prophecy of this book." If you go down to 12, it says, "And behold, I am coming quickly, and my reward is with me to give to everyone according to his work." You got all the sperm cells in the testes. These are your fallen souls in the abyss. When the seminal fluid or man ejaculates out the the fluid raises up the sperm cells, meaning they meet at the dick. The sperm come from the balls, the seminal fluid come from the prostate. And there's a giving out of white robes, meaning the substance is white, the sperm cells are dead below. Soon as the substance come, they are all snatched up back into awareness, meaning the sperm cells are dead. Next thing you know, seminal fluid is on them and they're awake. That's why it says, like, you get it? Jesus gonna raise the dead. But there's no Jesus, there's the YHWH, which is what I'm speaking of. Meaning in real life, you have that substance. That substance is a reflection of a divine thing in life over the whole existence. Follow? I don't want you to get so lost on semen so much, but that is just a small reflection of a great divinity over the whole life. Now you have to remember, semen got millions of sperm in it. And that substance is known as the Lord of Hosts. The sperm cells is the host. The Lord of Lords. The sperm cells is the sons of God. The fallen angels. You follow? And they are in the substance raised back up in their glory. This is why Jesus has those references like the Lord of Hosts, or YHWH has those references like Lord of Hosts and the Holy Ghost, because this is what seminal fluid looks like. But don't get lost on, man semen. We're speaking on a universal level. So imagine on a universal level, that substance wouldn't look like water or liquid, it would look like an army. Remember, there's millions of sperm cells or fallen souls in it, and they're all covered in the substance of it. This is why in Islam it says Isa, hair looks wet, but it's not. Semen is liquid, but it's not wet. You follow? Like that. You could take semen and wipe it on a girl, It all stayed together. Like, it's like silly putty. It's hard to separate it like that. It's not technically wet. Unless, you OD or something. But it's not technically wet. But it is like wet. So in Islam, they're explaining Jesus in that way. His hair is wet, but it's not wet. It look wet. He look wet, but he ain't. In Islam, they speak of how like Jesus gonna come and chase, the Antichrist. But they give a description of him. It's describing the substance, which is person, meaning seminal fluid become all the people that you see. So it is person, but not individual. Follow? Once in the egg cell, now you at individual stage. Meaning once sacrificed into the egg, now the God, or the YHWH, is being born out as individual. Physical matter. The Antichrist. You get it? The Christ is the YHWH of the substance. The body, which is the egg, this is born out with the Christ or the spirit in it. You follow? My physical vessel is the Antichrist. The spirit inside of me is, you get it? The YHWH. The spirit inside of us is tainted by the body. So when the YHWH, or Jesus, is speaking from that perspective, you are spirit, the body is going to tarnish you. You have to be strong and steadfast, and grasp. And the true nature is a divine thing. And so, I'm going to read Revelations chapter 22, verse 7. And it says, "Behold, I am coming quickly. Blessed is he who keeps the words of the prophecy of this book." Now, I'm going to shoot on down to verse 12. It says, "And behold, I am coming quickly, and my reward is with me, to give to everyone according to their works." And so, like I said, these are your references so you can see according to the book. YHWH of Jesus is the seminal fluid, which is all our beginnings, all of our spirits, man and female. Female start that same way. As substance from the Father. What Father? Everybody got their own. But, you get it? Life is a reproducing thing, so everything going back to one. You follow? Like that. And so, we are all Jesus, or we are all YHWH, which is pronounced you. We are all the Spirit of God, or the Son of the Father, women as well. When we are first ejaculated out. On a universal level, or a level of all of the existence, that substance is the life of it. You get it? Like that. Like that substance is the life of you. That is the awareness. That is everything you know as awake in life. Sleep got to do with the physical vessel. You get my point? That's the unconscious God. Then you have the awake God. This is just to help you grasp. You got them both with you. Unconsciousness or darkness, and awake. The seminal fluid got to do with that, awakeness. When you see semen, that's a soul, literally. When you put it inside an egg cell, you're going to see a whole body or baby come out. That part, that is a soul. An awareness. Basically, the five senses in liquid. The senses is like air. The five senses are the five airs come together, you get liquid. But let's say there's 7 senses. Like that. These 7 different airs having their atoms within the airs. Like I said, nitrogen is an air or gas. Oxygen is in air. Hydrogen in air. Or gas, same thing. Within those airs, you have the atoms of nitrogen, the atoms of oxygen, depending on what the air is. Now, hydrogen, air, and oxygen air merge, you get liquid water. That's like warm air and cool air. Now, imagine 7 different states of airs. They all have the atomic levels of life within them, the atoms, like hydrogen, oxygen, so on. When they merge, you will get a liquid. This liquid being the spirit of man, or the spirit of God. The spirit of man, because that's what it becomes. The spirit of God, it manifests out of thin air like rain. When a man ejaculates, imagine if he have no body. This is all coming from his mind. You follow? His mind is ejaculating out the substance. Like that. From air to liquid. The manifested glory. And so Jesus has to do with you. It doesn't have to do with you worshiping Jesus, but it has to do with one worshiping self. You follow? Worship got to do with putting a thing on a pedestal. You have to put yourself on a pedestal. You have to become too good for the low things in life that drag us down. You drink a lot. You have to become too proud or too good for that. When you do, you will. There's nobody to judge you. You get it? You have to evolve into this God. As long as it takes you, it does. But that is your glory. You follow? You look at self in that way and say, I am the YHWH, or God. Not over anyone else, but over your own Kaaba. Meaning the spirit inside this body is God. You remove the body, the substance that we are, that seminal fluid, it belongs to God, the unseen consciousness. You follow? You have to put that on a pedestal, which is self. You have to be, you get it? The glory that you view God as. You say God is kind and nice and perfect and fair. You have to be that. God is that. But you have to be that. You get it? You say, why? If God is that, why I gotta be that? Because you're never gonna be one with God until you one with God. God can't be daytime and you talking about I'm night, but I'm gonna be one with God. Night and day do not go together. You follow? You not never gonna get back with God until you become God or find it in self. Because day and night don't go together. You say God is perfect and a great thing. You better learn to become that. Or there will be no blending back. How can dirt and filth blend with cleanness? And so over time you work on your flaws, your addictions. When I say flaws, I'm talking about flaws of character. And slowly over your life, you become this perfected or balanced thing that you view God as. Of course, you can always get the proper understandings of YHWH or Jesus from me. And you get it? The full understandings. I'm just giving y'all like the proof that y'all on the wrong path. Of course, the wisdom is with it, but for the most part, this is just me giving y'all references and proofs that y'all don't understand what y'all following in regards of the religion. Meaning y'all have a Satan worship thing going on. Now, in regards to this, to the God and the real understandings of the God, I'm giving you a little understanding now, but it goes deeper than this. I'm not starting in any order. Meaning this goes back to ancient Sumer times, so I'd have to explain it all the way up. We speaking to YHWH. This God y'all have confused with this Jesus character, which is a manifested lie, physical flesh, that thing. But we have to be God, meaning you have to find yourself. What is finding yourself? You're lost in the world right now. And that means you're trying to measure up to all the people in the world and their perspective. And because you live in that way, you don't ever find yourself. Yourself being a fair, honorable thing. Meaning everybody's dishonorable because of that. They're looking for acceptance from society. And that it make for them to do things they wouldn't normally do. But they're trying to fit in. Like some of y'all right now, you a Hebrew. You understand every word I'm saying. But you want to fit in with your Hebrew, so you're going to overlook and play stupid. Like that. And once you serve and lie, you serve and lie now. Meaning if you overlooking truths, you're serving lie. I overlook no truth. Only lies. I'll blow you off if you lie. But if you speak in words of truth, I'll listen. You get my point? And so you have to find yourself in that way. Meaning you have to unwrap, you have to lose your care for society's perspective. It's interfering with you being the greatness that you can, which is a balanced, humble. When I say balanced, I mean fair. Fair in your ways. A balanced, humbled. Humbled meaning you have strength, but you have restraint. Humble don't mean you weak and delicate and a bozo. Humble is something that someone with strength can express in moments. In regards to someone just being humble, that wouldn't make no sense. You get my point? Like I said, humble is an action. I'm the king, you disrespect me, I can have you beheaded, but let him be here. Don't let it happen again. Like that, they say, man, that's a humble king. Blood could have got you beheaded. And he didn't. And he could have just did like that. You'd be dead right now. He humble. Most kings ain't got that humility. You disrespect them, you gonna see like why you better not. And you gonna be the example for anybody else got it on their mind. And that's how a king move. You disrespect me, you gonna be the example for everyone else. Don't never disrespect me. And behead his mama too. Just for good measure. For if you think I ain't like that. That's how King of Old carried it. Think you know ego? King of Old will behead you and your mama just for good merit. Say, if you think that wasn't hellish enough, look what I do to his mama. Y'all seen this movie? I forget the name of it. Immortal, I think? Immortal. I think that's the name. And the dude wore the mask with the devil horns. It was like the ancient Greek tale, but I know y'all ain't well versed in, y'all scholarship, so y'all might not have even realized that it was that. I'm trying to think of the name. I think the name of the movie is Immortal, but I'm trying to think of the name of the character. It's right on the tip of my tongue. But anyway, the character, which is like the hero, his people are captured and he come whooping ass or whatever. If you're familiar with the movie I'm speaking about, Immortal, tell me his name, I forget it, but he's fighting with the people fucking him up or whatever. And like the head dude that is the opposer, you follow? He's opposing like the superhero dude, so to say. He grabbed up the superhero dude's moms and they had him held down. And he bust her neck open. Told that nigga, welcome to hell. You get it? Meaning the dude killed like 8, 9, 10 of his men. He captured homeboy, let him live, but he grabbed his mother. It's like I said, you don't have to kill his mother, you already captured him. But for good measure, meaning there's people looking. So you know what? Get his mother over here. Blew her neck right out in front of him, and they showed it. Her shit was leaking, and blood face looked like he was in hell. And he said it before he did it. He said, look, welcome to hell. And bust her open right in front of him, let her drop. And then they took him away. Like that. That's a king. That's the ego of a king of old. kill your mama right in front of you. So you know don't play with him. Even if you got it on your mind, not kill your baby. Like, and I wouldn't even think twice of it. That's how he bust his mama open. So I'll kill your mama, wouldn't think twice of it. Make one mistake and say anything wrong to me. Look at me like you got it on your mind. That's how King of Old move. He come through the city, if you even look at him like, stop. You dead right there. Right there in that moment, niggas don't even know what you did. Say, what did he do? Kind of looked like he was overly looking at the king, like in his eyes, like challenging him. So he told his men to just stab him right there. And then later on that evening, he strolled back around to find who was the parents of this person, to kill them too, for good measure. You get it? Now, to most of y'all say that sound crazy and horrible, man. That is hell. Ego over king. Y'all speak of egos and humility, but y'all truly don't know what ego is. You get my point? Ego something y'all wouldn't even fathom. And you ain't never gonna see the ego of a king of old in today. It's like I told y'all in the past, king make people crawl on their belly if they want to see him for about a mile. And you still don't get to look the king in the eyes. Meaning you crawl to his feet, look at his feet, and you crawl your ass back on your belly. Backwards. Meaning you came forward crawling, you crawl out forward like that way. Meaning you don't turn your back on the king. So imagine if you walking towards the king, looking down so you don't look him in the eyes. When you're ready to depart, you got to walk away that way. Say, why? I can't walk backwards. You better not turn your back on the king. And this is real talk. Meaning they speak about this kind of shit in the Owaspy and other ancient texts. Again, they speak about this in the Owaspy if you need a reference. In a lot of the Apocrypha texts, you may get references to kings' egos, or gods, which is, a word for king. There you go. His name was Hyperion in the movie. Thank you, different names. I'm about to make you a moderator soon. And so Hyperion, that was the one that blew the mother's neck open. But the dude, I was talking about the other one, his name was like Seminal. I forget which Greek character he was. It's right on the tip of my tongue. Persephone. But like I said, king of old, they had hella egos. You want to see a king? Meaning some people would require in the past, like, I want to see the king, because the king wouldn't come through but once a year, like the carnival. Other than that, you'd never see the king. You would only see like the king's court. This is like the priests, elders, things like that. Basically the government under the king. But you would never see the king ever. And so, people like, I don't even know if this is real. I want to see the king. I don't want to wait till he ride through the city and we still can't really see him. Got to request to see the king. If the king accepts and say, yeah, let them come see me, so they can go back and tell everybody I am real. Remember, we talking about in a time where the king was a manifestation of God himself. And so people like the king of the city is God manifested. Some require to see him. Well, I want to see if it's real, if God is real. And so the king will grant them their wish. Of course, they have to crawl up like a whole pyramid worth of stairs on their belly. Crawl, not walk. So just imagine a 1 mile staircase. And you have to crawl up it. And then when you get to the top of the staircase, it's another mile walk straight ahead. And you can see the king off afar, sitting in his throne, but you cannot see him. You follow? But you like, oh, I do see someone is there. And all the men around, the soldiers, and you see the king. Like, I want to get a good look, but you can't. You got to get on your stomach from that moment and crawl on your belly. I mean, don't use your knees. You crawl on your belly before the king. Now remember, when you get to the top of the stairs, it's about a mile straight away. You're going to crawl that mal on your belly. Again, this is written in different texts. I believe in a Waspi they wrote. It's something similar to this. But anyway, you're going to crawl on your belly for that mal. And when you get to the king's feet, you better not raise your head to see, like to look at him. You get beheaded right there. You just get to see the feet of the king. And in that, you can go back and tell everybody the king of God is flesh and blood. I seen his feet. You follow? Now imagine you do all that. That part, you can go back and tell your people like, yeah, I seen God. Again, you crawled up a whole staircase for a mile. So you feel the power. You follow? We're not talking about some regular shit where you like, I want to see the king. Man, they say you got to climb up a mile worth of stairs. And then from there, you going to crawl on your belly for a mile. And please look up one time like it's a joke. Because all them guards that's lined up for your whole walk, the first moment you raise your eyebrows, they going to swoop your head clean off. And so now you crawling on your belly, you like, please don't let my eyes raise up. Like that, where you like, damn, I want to look, but please don't make a mistake and look. They gonna kill me right here. And you just keep crawling, looking down. You'll know you reach the king's throne when you see his feet. Can you imagine crawling on your belly till you see toes? And then when you do, you like, don't look up, don't look up, or I'm getting beheaded. When you crawling back, you're trying to tuck your head down even more so your eyes don't make a mistake. Because when you crawling backwards, the further away you get, you can see that part. You got your head down even more now, like, please don't let my eyes, don't let them even think my eyes seen him. Like that. You think after a person go through all that, they gonna go back to their people and be like, no, God fake? Hell nah, God real blood. Do you know what I just went through? Just to see toes. That part. Say, oh yeah, God gotta be real blood. Can't no man do that. Can't no man. Remember, you climbing up a bunch of stairs, so you going into. Think about climbing to the top of a pyramid. And then from there having to walk a mile. After you do that, you're not going to be thinking to yourself, yeah, this is just a regular person, fuck him. Nah, this is the glory. Remember, this is in a time where cities is first being built, so they never even seen these orders. Think of America when colonizers first came here. That part, if we was in king times, y'all never even seen these orders. Y'all just hearing about God. I don't believe there's no God, so they take your ass on a boat back to Spain, to the king. And that's what you gotta go through, and you like, oh shit, I just come from a little forest. They brought me to a whole place that had like floors and stores and shit. This is how people viewed it in the past. They never been in no city. Cities is new. Like that. And get brought to a place that's fucking concrete. In the past, they would make the floors gold. You see, in the day we wear our gold, that's not stupid to y'all. So you don't have to think like that's stupid. Why would you waste gold to make like concrete out of ground? It makes sense if you think about it now. Y'all waste that shit on y'all neck. You can thin gold out a lot. Meaning 1 pound of gold can be stretched out damn near a block's worth. We're talking metal. You smelt it and let it like that. We can live like that in the daytimes, but y'all will be out with y'all picky. You get it? I will be breaking that shit up, taking it. But in the ancient past, you get it? There ain't no pawn shop you could bring that to. They ain't even sure what that is. Kings have their cities with the floors in gold. And all kind of precious metals. Things y'all wear now were used to like that. So imagine you don't think New York City don't have enough gold to make a block? The floor's gold. Yeah. Any country you could think of could do that in the daytime. Don't use cement, use all the gold you got stashed up. Smelt it down and cover the floors. Meaning instead of letting the cement, you know how cement is laid? Lay gold. I want my sidewalks and my streets to be gold. That's how King of Old was living. Bricks in the building, gold. That part. Don't get lost. Y'all have brick size shit on y'all neck. Y'all don't have the ego of a king. So y'all say, man, I'm a rich rapper. I want a big Cuban link. In the past, a king, you get it? That ain't nothing. He owned a country. All the gold of the country, whatever you need, it's nothing to him. It's his. Like that. At some point, people start stealing the ground. You broke right now. You like, I'm about to go outside and break me up a nice chip of gold, bro. I need it. Like that. You probably get beheaded for that shit in the past. Somebody gonna rat on you. But until you get caught, get whatever you need or whatever the case may be. But that's just a little jewel on ego. Now, in regards to Jesus or the YHWH character, this is your seminal fluid, as I said, but we're speaking on universal level, the most macroest level you can think of. Meaning our world or our whole existence is a conception or emerging of seminal fluid and menses fluid. This is like in the ancient Sumerian text, the Enuma Elish, where it says, Tiamat and Abzu's waters merged or mingled. They're speaking of that, menses and seminal fluid. This is the beginnings of a physical body, physical existence. You have to remember, all the micro life will be inside the body. If the body is a solar body, the micro life will be organisms. If the body is an organism, the micro life will be cells. You follow? Like that. And so, the spirit within the body, that is the whole existence. Like in Islam, they say Adam, which is the body of man. All the souls in existence is in the tailbone of Adam. That's to say, on the universal level, or the highest level you could think of, macro. Our whole existence is in the body of Adam. You follow? Like that. And so, like I said, any of you guys can at any point get a one-on-one. I'm gonna put a special of one-on-ones up at like $20 or something. And if you have certain verses in any book, like I said, it don't have to be the Bible, even the Apocryphal book. My scholarship is long. So if you want proper understanding of what the YHWH is and how we're supposed to live truly, like I said, I gave y'all a little piece. So whatever you view God as, you have to become that. We're not speaking of you being dominant and controlling of others, but coming into control over the self. Like I said, y'all get lost into society. It stop y'all from being fair, honest, and that glory that you can be in this life, that strength. I don't mean you being fair and honest as weak. You being fair and honest because you strong like that. It take a great deal of strength for one to look you in your eyes and not lie. Tell you, yeah, I said, fuck you, nigga, what? Like that. Y'all don't have that kind of strength to just be honest. You see how y'all look at me and y'all say, man, that nigga Silas, boy, he ain't got no filter. It's honesty. I will look you clean in your face and tell you whatever I got to say. I wouldn't care how you feel. Don't feel no way. Like that. It's a strength. You want to get to that place where you're fair, balanced, which is, fair. You want to be honorable, which is honest and strong. not dominant, where you're controlling others. God over self. Learning to have control in all of that over self. And how you view God as this great thing. You have to be that. Like I said, most of y'all view God as some fair, kind, loving, great thing. You have to be that. Or you don't need to worry about ever being one with God. And so this is the works that man got. When he born into the world, he gonna get lost into the world because he's just a baby. And that is already set up for him to get set up or trapped in the world. Y'all was born here, y'all heard about Jesus and God and all of that. Like that. He have to wait till he become of sound mind. This is when he reaches an adult. Now, when I say he, I'm speaking mankind. Mankind have to wait till they get to that stage where they're an adult and can think on their own. When you a child, you gotta listen to your mom. And follow? In that you can't have your own thoughts, even if you do become wiser than your mother. This is why it's important for an adult to be dependent. A lot of y'all are still dependent on others. In that you can't even walk in your truth. Some of y'all are Christian, but you living with somebody that's a Christian because you fell on hardship, and you get it. Men have a lot of things in the world over him that can follow, take away from him being what he truly know to be true. Like I said, some of y'all got people over y'all, some of y'all got people looking out for y'all while you're going through a hardship, and you're not at liberty to be like, nah, man, I ain't no Christian. I found a deeper understanding. They might kick you out. Meaning a Christian ain't really an honorable person. They just love you if you whatever they want you to be, which is whatever they is. If I'm lying, you a Christian, go to your church and say, man, I love all y'all, but this is evil. But I still want to be y'all friend, but I don't want to congregate with y'all in regards to this. This is not right. They not gonna be your friend. Because y'all are not truly friends, y'all are just bounded, like gang members are bounded by the gang. You follow? Your Christian buddy ain't your real friend. Y'all just binded or bounded by the religion. And if you leave the religion, he won't be your friend. When I was in the gang when I was younger, I left the gang. You know why nothing happened? Because I was dealing with these people before any of us was in a gang. They are my people. We ain't bonded by no gang. I know this nigga mama. And he know my mama. And this go before a gang. You know how dumb he would look telling me, I ain't gonna be your friend no more because you ain't in the same gang no more. Well, we was friends before the gang came along. And your mama know my mama and you sound stupid and I'm telling your mama, all right, forget it. We cool. Like that. When it's real, it's bonded because of love. Meaning ain't nobody gonna hold you to nothing if you leave. Your family gonna cut you off because you ain't a Muslim no more? They might get mad at you, but are they gonna cut you off? More than likely not. But they'll cut off somebody that's just their mosque brother. I'm saying that so y'all can see the religion is fake. Y'all bond is fake. And that fake ain't true. And so, like I said, every individual has to learn self. Self, like I said, everybody lost in society and trying to measure up to whatever the perspective of society is. And that y'all can't be trusted to be honest or honorable and fair in y'all ways. And that y'all are not fair with yourselves. Y'all will put society before self. You might spend your last on some fly-ass outfit to impress people and suffer next week eating and getting to work. Just so you could have stunted for that weekend party. Like that. Man will put himself or the world before himself. Before he makes sure he good and well. Now all next week you borrowing and begging from people. Having to be dependent. Giving them a power over you. Men have to learn these things. I have to blossom into being dependent. where I can depend on myself to not make any error. In that, I don't have to be dependent on no one. In that, no one can be God or boss over me to make me do things that ain't just. Meaning your boss right now at your job will make you do something not just. And you will, because you need that paycheck. And I don't care how good you are, your rent about to be due. You're going to do it. That. Society control how you are. You have to rise above that or get yourself to a place where you're not dependent on society or no person. You're dependent on life and nature itself. This is, meaning life itself, and how you see everything transpiring outside of your city. The city is all programmed and, you get it, controlled by man, but nature is nature. When man get to a place where he where he trust his own inner nature as being the spirit of the God within himself. When he get to a place where he trusts that instead of man, I have no problem saying things I know gonna get me blackballed and cut off. You know why? Say, man, Solish, man, they trying to blackball him off and make sure he don't eat. But they not never gonna succeed. Cause I ain't dependent on y'all. Say, man, Solish cursed his audience out. They gonna all unsubscribe. I ain't dependent on y'all. I wouldn't care. Y'all ain't God or life. Y'all don't have an understanding I have. And that y'all don't get it. There's nothing y'all can do for me. Except blackmail me and shit like that. And the only thing you can do for me truly if you want to be good is be fair. If you grasp that, then you don't need to be dependent on man. All he could do is be fair with you. At most. If he take care of you, then he handicap you. So at most, if the man is true, all he could do is help you. Because if he go above that, he gonna handicap you. If anyone been taken care of, you know what I mean. After that person disappeared, she was like, I don't even know what to do. It's been so long. You a woman, a man been taking care of you, you like, damn, it's been so long since I got a job, I forgot how to. It handicaps you. You forget how to do for yourself. Like that. You have to become, like I said, you have to find the God in yourself, but it's from that aspect when I say God in yourself. Don't get lost on y'all religious perspectives of God. Y'all need to chuck y'all religions. Learn the ways of life accurately. Like I said, I'm going to put up in my shop a place where you can order like a one-on-one consultation on any text or scholarship that you may follow so you can get a proper understanding of what it say. That's what I do. Break down the hidden meaning of different texts, different artwork, different sciences of old, like the old texts. Artwork that have to do with, old understandings. So like I said, the Metal Nutter, the Book of the Dead, the Tibetan Book of the Dead, a bunch of books. Any book you into, even the Owaspy, I actually got that. I actually got the books on me right here. And I got the, let's see. I got a bunch of books, but I'm about to start giving them away. If there's a certain book you like that you want, you can always ask me if I have it. I'll probably give it to you for free. I don't need to text anymore. But you want to get to that place where you grow into God, being kind, fair, just in your ways when you move about here. And if everybody can do that, then this life will be a heaven. Meaning if everybody's being fair and kind with everybody, I'm sure y'all can grasp, we'd all have an abundance. When I say fair, I mean all around the board. All the monies, all the resources, everything being divvied up fairly. Life produced more than any of us. Life produced enough where we all can have enough to bring ourselves into a retard. You get it? And I said, if you got too much money, you can kill yourself. Man, life produced like that, where every individual can have enough to kill their damn self if that's what they saw. You get it? Meaning there's enough for everybody to be filthy, filthy rich. But you living like a system and have this poverty thing and this work thing. So they have to make sure y'all always in debt. Therefore, y'all always gonna work and try to make sure they put enough debt on y'all. Where some of y'all say, I need to get me a second work, a third work. That's how the city's structured. Like, want the citizens to work. So it's just slavery of old now, but you have to grasp. But it's going to start with y'all, removing yourself from these false religions, these false institutions, these false groups. Start taking the time with yourself. Like I said, any of y'all welcome to get a one-on-one with me. And make a weekly schedule, man, every Tuesday or something. And you take your time out, maybe get a yoga mat or something, and you sit down and do a yoga style. Get your little breathing techniques, other techniques. If you ever need to clear out your nose, learn your neck. That's your joystick. Learn how to stretch your neck. To clear out your head and your nostrils, your nose being connected to your head. So when your nose getting stuffy, your head is stuffy. And so you get it, you don't want your nose to get stuffy if you can avoid it, because that means the head is quite stuffy. So I'll show you little techniques in regards to breathing, stretching. You can go to what is my yoga video called? Rafe Yoga? Just to get a perspective. I probably don't look that flexible and stuff, but I can do backflips and all these things. Get it? I can do shit that y'all cannot do. Y'all seen when I did that Rafe handstand, where you're looking and you like, I don't see how he's doing a handstand like that. If any of y'all can do it, show me you do it. It's magic. It's magic. Meaning I can make myself light like a feather. Probably could float if I want. I just never thought about it. I had a desire. Try it. If you've seen that video, I don't know what it's titled. That way I'm gonna find the video titled and I'm gonna put a link to it, so you can get a perspective of what yoga is, the accurate way. Like I said, y'all have a lot of teachings in today, but they're not accurate. Meaning, y'all learning it wrong. This is why y'all can't do anything or get any real results. And so you gotta start from, the beginnings. The understanding have to be acute, so you can get all you can get out of a thing. And so, try to grasp. I'm about to depart. I'm getting quite dried out, famished and parched. And so hopefully you guys grasp. If you're a Hebrew Israelite and you're black, you might want to get out of that. That is incorrect. And if you're a Christian or any kind of Christian, Jew as well, that's Satan worship. Blasphemy practice, where you blaspheme God, disrespect God, like saying you're gonna get beat up and spit on and hung on a cross and things like that. Things you heard of but never seen. Things where you consider, if it's God, that how could that happen anyway? Like that. A clear-cut blasphemy, but if you lost into the world, you don't see it. Now I understand if you're a Christian, you got your buddies at your church, and this is the main reason why you hear this truth and you may overlook it and pretend like, no, I don't get it. You get it, but you're bound to your buddies. Your church is now like your life. If you're lost, you get off work sometimes, you're a regular person, you like to go to your old neighborhood and hang out. This is how old lady Christian is. She ain't got no life, my nigga. Her friends is that church. Like that. So when it's explained to an old person accurately, that part, they not looking at it like, damn, I'm following the devil. They looking at it like, man, I ain't got no life or friends. The only friends I have is in this church. And if I tell them I don't believe anymore, I have a higher understanding, they're not going to be my friends. I'm old. I have no, get it? They view themselves in that way, and that they just keep themselves trapped in low things. Mind you, their whole life and their true friends is outside of that church. That church and them people are their stagnants. What keeps them down and low? That part. You have to leave that falsehood. Those are not your family. You follow? Your family is the people you pissed off with. You're pissed off with them because they're the only people who can piss you off. How can a stranger do you dirty? You know how people say, man, family do you worse than anybody. Family is the only one that has that liberty. Can't nobody else do you dirty. You follow? Think about it. Nobody else can betray you or do you dirty but your family. Nobody else don't got to be loyal to you to betray you. So if you're mad at a family member, you might as well throw it out the window. You're not being fair to that family member because your new buddy cannot betray you or piss you off like that family member. They don't know you enough or have that. And so you have to understand family. Meaning you're going to have your problems with family and you're good. And that's what family is. Meaning family, they're the ones that have that power to betray you or to lift you up. But in that church, those strangers ain't your family. Are your friends. Now your family and friends may be lost in life. But do you follow? You run into a fake family, that's dumb. You're better off taking that time to find yourself and being the light for your true family. Because that's your family, not these fake people you got. Peace and wisdom to the gods. Welcome to the channel, brother. And so hopefully y'all grasp what I'm saying. It starts with truth and self. You can't have a mind full of false ideals and lies from religions or this group or that group and then think you're going to get progress on the right accord. You're not. You're not never going to be happy like you want to be. It's all fake. And so if you're a Christian, whatever religion you lost into, you may want to start to unwind from it. Like I said, you can get one-on-one lessons here and self-perfection lessons. This is like you blossoming into being God. So if some of y'all view me and you say, man, he got like a godly or a divine presence. And when he's explaining things, it's almost like he's God. Like that. Y'all are not taking the time out to perfect y'all mind and emotional state. Find a value to live by, balance and honor. And then you get it, walk the path and blossom into your glory. Start facing your flaws. You got a lot of fears inside, you need to start facing them. You got a lot of stereotypes, you need to start facing them. You need to start removing all your low-minded or shallow-minded false ideals. Get them out of you. And that will slowly start to see you become more strong and more glorious than you were. If I show you me when I was in the streets and me now, you'll see a big difference. Just in how I feel around you. You will say, no, he feel different. Most people get around me, they get scared. Meaning a lot of y'all cannot keep eye contact with me. Like that. Meaning I see it in real life. Y'all have a fear of me. There's this dude in my neighborhood, he a little wild. He be a little thrown off sometimes too. He be messing with like the K2 and stuff. But he wild. Diesel nigga. Probably about 30 or so. White lady rolled by on her bike and he was like, hi. She ain't say nothing. But, after he did that, she did. She kind of was like, oh, I'm sorry, hi. And he kind of went off on her and was like, yeah, bitch, I should rape you. So, she's riding by scared to death now with her daughter. And I'm looking at her. I'm walking by too. She was a nice white lady, meaning she spoke to me, but I guess she seen him and was just like, let me just go on my way. And then when he was like, hi, like that. But I already seen her. Meaning she passed me first. He didn't see me coming down the block. And he looked. Meaning he was cursing her out. And then he looked and seen me. And was like, oh, I'm sorry, big bro. I don't got nothing to do with that white lady. Like that. His respect for me is like, oh, chill, bro. You get it? Bro on that, bro on God time, my nigga. I'm not going, you get it? He not weak. Blood probably will dust me off like that. It's a fear. Like, oh, I'm sorry. That was just his natural instinct. I start laughing. I'm like, you good, bro? Like, do your thing. Like, I'm not your God. I can't tell you what to do. But like that, in real life, when I deal with y'all or see anybody, y'all scared to make eye contact. It weirds me out. Like, you get it? They view me like God. And even if I am, it's over me. I can't be your God. So it's like I said, you gotta build yourself up. You gotta get the mind steady. Starts with honor and balance. Yeah, I have the Lemegeton. The Ars Goetia is a chapter in the Lemegeton. That's the lesser key of Solomon. Yeah, I have that. I'll email it to you in a little while. And if you have problems understanding it, make sure you hit me up so you can be clear. Because I have the wrong understanding of that as well, King Solomon, and you get it? Now I'm departing. Hopefully you guys be safe this Friday. I know how y'all like to party. Be safe out there. Be aware. Keep your eyes open. Be kind and things like that. And keep the mind positive. That's the best thing you could do. Keep your mind positive. Keep your perspective positive. Be good in your way. Salam, shalom.